Hey guys, welcome back to another My Team Career Mode episode here on that Car Dude channel. If you did miss the last episode at Vietnam, make sure to go check that one out. It was an interesting race, not the best result in the end, but it was definitely worth a watch. I'm sure you're all aware of the delay now between episodes, and it was because of a glitch that's been going around on the Xbox version of the F1 2020 game. The career mode saves were just totally wiping off the game, and that happened to me sadly. But I managed to try and simulate through the sessions, through the races, and we weren't able to pick Alesi at the start actually, so we got Antoine Hubert instead. But I've tried to kind of replicate what happened to the best of my ability here, and we don't have any points, which is good. But as you can see though, from the Honda factory, we have the durability facilities instead of the powertrain, so that means we haven't quite unlocked all of the R&D kind of upgrades that we were able to do last time and did do in the last save. But you know what, I've tried to replicate it as much as possible with the same upgrades as you can see here in the R&D tree, and I believe the only one we've not got is the major that we just started with in Vietnam, so it's not too much of a blow. But you know, we can't even unlock it as you can see because we haven't upgraded any of the facilities. And also due to having to simulate the sessions, I don't have as much R&D points as I would like to as we had, but as you can see now, I do have a rival this time, as Danny Kvyat that started in Vietnam last time out, my AI won that one. So then moving on, let's forget about that, moving on to our activities here, we're going to put the aero department focus on, and we're also going to get this funded team event away to get some more resource points, although it's not going to let us fully use up our time, but you know what, that's going to have to be substituted for some more R&D points here as we go then to the invitational event. I won't show you any of this because, you know, just getting the R&D points and some money for our team now is about 1.60 million, that is. And then here we go then to the Chinese Grand Prix. Just before we get into qualifying then, I did go ahead and purchase some upgrades from the R&D points I gained in practice here. So we got the minor engine power instead of the major that we had last time, and we also went and got another secondary wing flax for the front downforce again, trying to help with this understeer. But you know what, let's get into the qualifying. Here we go then for our first flying wrap around the Shanghai International Circuit here on the F1 2020 game. And I've obviously got all the same sponsors I did last time out, and I did actually answer all the questions in the opening interviews and all the interviews after that with the same answers, so I am replicating this to the best of my ability here as we come on to the end of the lap. It's a decent lap here, not my best, not my finest work, but you know what, we're going to come across the line and it is going to put us all the way up into P6, so it's a good start for us there. But as per usual, by the time we get onto our second flying lap here, we're all the way down in P16, trying to make back up for our time. We're through corners 1 and 2 here, we're not able to make up that much time. It's very close to the delta that we set last time out when we were down in P16, but we're going to try and push on, trying to get the best lap possible here, and hopefully that will take us nice and high up the grid for Sunday's race then. But setting a nice green sector here as we're gaining a lot of time through this corner, but losing it on the exit as we go a bit deep into the corner. But you know, I'd spent a lot of time in practice and we're still, as you can see, struggling with some understeer through that corner, but a lot of time in practice here to get the rewards and the goal bonuses that we needed for 30 laps in practice, I'm pretty sure it is. As we come then down into the hairpin at the end of the lap, then about 4.5 tenths up here as Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the session. Can we make it any higher than P16 for the grid? We're going to see come across the line, and it's P10, so not too bad, but there's still 4 minutes left in the session, and by the time we get to the end we've been demoted down to P13, but that is not a shame at all. P13 and P18 then for Hubert, so that's a good qualifying session for us then. Hubert qualifying well for his first time that we've seen him qualify in this career mode. Let's hope we can both gain positions in the race as Danny Kvyat gets P10 there, so it's not good for us losing up in that rivalry. But you know what, let's head into the Chinese Grand Prix.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before the braking zone of turn 14. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Alexander Albon and Bottas. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ricciardo, Sainz, Perez and Daniel Kvyat. Ocon, Norris, a Mercedes and Raikkonen, Gasly, Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi and Antoine Hubert, Magnussen, Russell, Grosjean and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Here we are then on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix, and as you can see on the top there, it's going to be raining at the end is the forecast, but I'm not going to act on that because last time out in Vietnam I did try and act on 2 rain and only came in the last half lap, so I'm not very confident that this rain will come in at all. I think that's a wee bit of a decoy then, as let's head into the race. Here we go then, 5 red lights at the Chinese Grand Prix in our My Team career mode, and the lights are out and away we go, and it's a good start from us compared to Norris. Norris bogs down a lot as now we're up the back of Kvyat. Squeeze between him and Ocon, and Perez comes and we hit him, and we have a big slide through the first corner, almost tipping there Daniel Ricciardo, but Perez is still upper inside here as we go side by side through turns 3 and 4 here. Just trying to squeeze it in on the side, maybe get some traction and good exit off the corner, but it's not going to happen here as Perez comes back at me with good traction in the second phase of the exit of the corner. But we're going to switch to the other side of him, and a massive dive bomb again down him, Sainz and maybe Ricciardo. No, we don't get it stuck on Ricciardo or Sainz, so it's just Perez that we managed to get it stuck in with at the start. But he comes back down the inside of us here as we try and hold it round the outside on our least favourite corner of the track. And we go deep into the next corner, which is going to shut him off there and keep the position now up into P9 from P13, so it's not a bad start to the race at all here on lap 1, is it? And now we're going to settle down into the race, try and keep this P9 or not then, as we move on to the end of lap 1 here into the hairpin. A dive bomb on Sainz then as we try and hold it round the inside. He tries to hold it round the outside, and he does give us a good fight here as he gets some traction, but there's not as much traction as us on the exit there. We managed to get the position then up into P8, so it's a good start from us. Great start on lap 1 then, as we're just behind Ricciardo and then Albon, so we're really mixing it in with the big dogs here. So I make a wide on turn 1 there, and Sainz has a wee look down the inside but decides against it there, so we managed to keep it forward at the time being. But then moving on to the end of that lap 2, down into the hairpin, Sainz comes back at us, and we're going to have to go round the outside here into the braking zone, out-brake him a wee bit. Great braking zone from us, hang it all the way around the outside, and we managed to find the traction on the exit here just to stay alongside Sainz. We're going to have to squeeze him out into the last corner with a tighter line than him, and it's going to be back up into P8 now as we're holding up a wee train here of Sainz and Norris, and I can already tell that they have a much faster car than me then as Sainz comes back down the inside of me on turn 1. I try and hold it round the outside, he tries to go round the inside, but we pinch him off just a wee bit there to try and keep the position, and he has a second look, but we use as much of the curb as possible there to shut the door on him, make sure he doesn't come at us. But then again onto lap 3 I think this is, down the inside he goes again, and we have to hang it round the outside of Sainz here. Once again, try to find the traction, and this time we find great traction on the outside and manage to just hold it off here. But we go very deep into the corner, and that's allowed Sainz and Norris a great run on me now as I'm right behind them lap 2, going down into turn 1, trying to make up for my mistake here as they go side by side through the first corner. Great racing here from Sainz and Norris, as me and Ocon are all over the back of them, me looking for a wee sniff down the inside of his Sainz here, but it's not going to happen there as we go over the grass there. A lot of dust now as Ocon's right behind me, but I'm right up the gearbox of Sainz then, coming down towards this kink. Can we make a move into the tight corner here? Maybe as we go to the inside then, a big move on Sainz again. A wee bit of contact there on the left rear wheel, but we make it stick, and now we're up back into P8 now, and Norris is up ahead in P7, but then moving on to lap 4. Norris has run away from us here, and for the 4th time, me and Sainz are side by side down into the hairpin. And I have a feeling that could be a trend throughout the Grand Prix as we're very closely matched, and I again get great exit on the racing line on the outside here. We're side by side, he nips off into the pits there, so we didn't lose too much there, as now Ocon is the one behind us as we're up into P7, P6, P5, P4 then, as Ocon's sniffing down on my rear into turn 1 then, and we try and go side by side again. Great racing here in this Grand Prix as I'm mixing it in with the Reynolds and McLarens here, trying to get some points here as we move in onto our pit stop here, and Lando Norris is just ahead of us, as you can see, and he comes in a good pit stop from the crew initially, but then he gets held up a bunch by traffic, so it's an absolute treat for us then as our mechanics do a stellar job and we get a 1.9 second pit stop, and there we go, we've jumped Lando Norris in the pit stops, so it's absolutely amazing here as then we come out, and where's Sainz going to be as he's gone for the undercut? He's going to be behind me, sandwiched in between me and Norris, so I've managed to hold both McLarens at bay, so it's great work in the pit stop phase from my team there. To move then on to lap 7, and there's yellow flags ahead of me as Leclerc's out, and it's another free position for us. Thank you very much, up into P7 of this Chinese Grand Prix, and we're up in a very lofty position then. P7 out of 21 now, as we still have Sainz and Norris all over my backside then onto the end of that lap then, and Sainz yet again down the inside into the hairpin for, I think this is the 3rd or 4th time he's tried that, as I get good grip on the exit there and I managed to squeeze him out going into turn 1 there. There's quite a juicy battle with the McLaren here, and I'm so happy here. Mixing it in with the big boys is Vettel and Ricciardo, you can see just going out of shot there, as then Sainz gets me on the outside into turn 1, and we've tried to hang on to the back of him here, trying to just stay up right close to him, maybe have a look down the inside, but it's not meant to be then, as Sainz is ahead of us now and Norris is all over the back of us now, but we're still going to push on with Sainz, try and use him as maybe a horse and carriage to pull us along in the DRS, but we get to the end of that lap and it's just barely getting DRS from Sainz there, so that's showing the true pace of the McLaren. As now it's the other McLaren of Norris down my inside into the hairpin, so that's about the 6th or 7th time I've been side by side with a McLaren into that corner, but managed to hold it off for the time being onto the main straight then on lap 9 into lap 10, but Norris goes for the same move as his teammate did 1 lap earlier, and he's going to make it work as well. So the Brit is up into P8 then, and we're demoted back down to P9 here as we're falling back in this Grand Prix, trying to stay in the points here, trying to cling on to our first ever points finish here on lap 10. But we're all over the back of Norris. He makes a wee mistake on the exit of that corner, a wee squiggle with the back end, and we're going to send it back down the inside here, and he squeezes us quite a fair bit here, but we're not able to get it as we go too far on the curb here, and he's going to get us on the exit of the corner, and we're very slow then on the exit of the corner, and that's going to make us vulnerable then to Ocon, and we make a big mistake going too tight there, and Ocon's going to send it down the inside when there's not really a gap there, and I'm not liking this, getting a bit flustered in the cockpit as we go side by side through Ocon through this double left-hander. We're going to squeeze him out aggressively now, don't want to lose too much time then to Norris and Sainz ahead as the tyre wear starts to kick in, and I start to feel it now. It's a wee bit too much on the curve there, and I'm almost round there with a bit of oversteer, but Sainz is already 3 seconds ahead and Norris 1.5 seconds ahead, even though he's only been ahead of us for about half a lap. So the tyre wear relay is kicking in at this stage of the Grand Prix as we go down then the back straight, the massive 1 kilometre long straight, and Ocon's going to have an amazing run on us, and he's going to get us even before we get into the braking zone. So I mean, that's a bit of a shame they're not even able to put up much of a fight against Ocon as he just cruises past us now into the final corner onto lap 11 now. I'm going to use overtake mode and rich mix, I think, and DRS to try and catch up to Ocon, but for some reason that Renault in a straight line is absolutely rapid then, as we're not able to catch up at all to Ocon. But maybe have a look down the inside then as he goes very wide and opens the door. It's so slow around that corner, riding the curve to its full extent, trying to stay on the circuit as we try a wee switch back there, but not able to get the grip out the corner, and that's going to be sad now as we lose the back of Ocon onto lap 14 then, as the tyre wear really is kicking in and Stroll's caught up 2 seconds in the last 2 laps. But we're going to come around the final corner in P10, a wee bit of a tank slapper there, but for our first points finish in our My Team career mode. So I'm absolutely ecstatic about that, and it's a great race from us from P13 up into P10 and hold out for the points finish, as then Lance Stroll does get driver of the day as he was right behind us. So we're lucky that the Grand Prix didn't last a few laps longer then.
There'll be many smiles at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take the win here in Shanghai. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
There we go then with the full results of the Chinese Grand Prix, and we're up into P10 there, and Kvyat is down into P13, so that's good to help our rivalry with Kvyat there, as Hubert does gain a position up into P17 only because of Leclerc's DNF though, so not the best result for him, but overall a very good race for us, that car GP, with our first points finish ever in our My Team career mode, so I'm very happy about that one.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, again, it's all about getting the team acclaim up here, so we're just going to compliment the team and get the acclaim nice and high.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
Normally I wouldn't really answer these one, I'd just say no comment, but you know what, none of us racers do want to back down, so I'm going to go with the honest answer here and just say we're racers and we don't want to back down from the challenge.
Appreciate your time.
So there you go, Claire's a bit happier than she was last time, a bit perkier, as we win this round of the rivalry here with Kvyat, as we're now 9-6 up on the rivalry, so it's looking good here with 5 races to go in it, as our team acclaim advances rapidly. We're almost up to team acclaim of level 5 here, as my acclaim is up to level 3 and Hubert's level 5, so it's not bad from us in that perspective. And the cash we do get, the practice bonus, we did 34 laps out of the 30 that was needed, and we get another 90 grand there from our damage and our base payout there, as our total then goes up to 2.35 million. So you never know, I might think about buying a new facilities upgrade in the next episode, but I'm not sure, so make sure to tune in next time to find out. Anyway guys, thank you for watching another That Car Dude video. This is me signing off, and until next time, see ya.